Pain is a gift. Without the capacity to feel pain, we can't imagine the kind of feeling it will invoke in others, whether it be emotional, spiritual, or physical, should we harm them. We are united in this human experience of feeling pain, and this is what drives a lot of politics. It's what drives a lot of spirituality. In politics, you don't want somebody to be unjustly punished for something that they don't deserve to be punished for, and perhaps you want them to be helped, and so that they don't have to go hungry, so that they can live, emotionally and spiritually and personally productive lives. When it comes to spirituality, I tend to try and follow the golden rule that do not do unto others what you would want done unto you, and realize that we are all part of this net, this neural net of humanity, in which something harmed on the other side of the world. Some emotion or spiritual empathy, or physical nature of a person. If a person is harmed on the other side of the world in some way, it will affect us because we are connected in ways that we can't even imagine right now. And spirituality gets to the core of this. So psychology does too, but just not to the extent. And despite this, there are many people who completely throw out the window the idea that others that believe other things or are a different gender do not have the same value or basic ability to be human in the way that we're human, in the way that we experience pain, whether it be emotional, spiritual, psychological, physical. There are many men around the world who believe that women aren't as valuable as men, and that when they feel pain, it's not as big of a deal, or when they're subjugated, it's not as big of a deal as if a man is subjugated. And I'm sure there's women that believe the opposite. It's just that the men are the one. I mean, a lot of these men are the ones who have power, and the women who might believe the opposite don't have the power. And there's been a lot of pushback against. This is kind of a tangent, but there's been a lot of pushback against feminism from men that feel very, like their power is taken away, though they won't say it in those words. But regardless, we should all realize that we have an equal existence in humanity. And even if somebody does something wrong, it doesn't mean that they deserve the ultimate punishment. They deserve a punishment that is equal to their crime. And the ability for us to feel pain in any way allows us to know what is equal to their crime. What should be the punishment for their crime. And it's very easy to slip into certain societal habits, like making fun of somebody just off the cuff, or kind of, judging somebody very quickly based on one little thing that they said. And it has more to do with our own sensitivity, our own hypersensitivity to emotional pain that spurs this reaction, because those who are truly compassionate aren't hypersensitive, because the two kind of exist in symbiosis. If you're compassionate, then you will try to understand somebody even if they're trying to insult you or harm you, and that will cause you less pain, and in the end you'll actually end up helping them by not judging them, by not returning the insults, by not hurting them in return, unless they're just like berating you with punches or coming at you in a very physical way. The whole goal is to basically understand them and do what you have to do to defend yourself and to, save face, save your dignity. But that doesn't mean that you have to respond in the same way, that the same tactic that they're using against everybody else. That's where compassion is strength. Compassion is strength because it doesn't need to respond in the ways that other people respond. I mean, not everybody, but other people. And it doesn't need to respond with violence. It finds a way around violence, or it is very defensive. You can defend yourself without being an offensive kind of person. This is kind of rambling and such, but I hope that the idea is getting across. Pain is something that the more we try to understand, the more we try to put into perspective, whether it be individual pain or the pain of other people, the more that we find we are connected to all. And the more that we find we can control pain quite well. Pain is not something to fear. emotional, spiritual, physical. That doesn't mean that you should inflict it upon yourself or others. It just means that it's not something to fear, because with human life, it is inevitable that we will feel pain. We will encounter situations in which some of these types of pain will be inflicted upon us, and it's unavoidable in human life. But how we deal with it, our response, and trying to learn from it, basically dictates if this pain will happen again, and if the situation actually resolves itself to a benefit to us, that provides us with a lesson learned, or an ability to not be as hurt by whatever pain we experienced. I'll give an example. For a long time, years back, I was very sensitive to any insult that came my way. Any bully that said an insult at me, it just stuck with me all day, and it made me really depressed. And if the insults added up, then it would just feel even more and more terrible. Now, if I get insulted, which is it's rare now, I don't really get insulted. I mean, I'm at an age and a physicality to where nobody really messes with me. Anybody my age or anywhere around that age, and despite this, I have learned quite a bit from being the kind of kid that might be considered a loser in years past. In middle school, early in high school, or somebody that didn't have a lot of friends, and that coupled with every single insult being very searing, being very hurtful and piercing into my being, essentially, really made for a terrible time in those few years. 3 to 6 years of my life that I was very sensitive, but also very messed with, I guess you could say. And with all that pain, I started to learn that if somebody's going to judge me based on this, I don't want to know them anyway, and I don't want to consider what they're saying as being valuable to me or my conception of reality. And I think that you should take up this idea as well. If you just lay yourself out as far as who you are, what you want, what you believe, and somebody doesn't like you for it, then you don't want to know them anyway. Or if they judge you for it and call you a name, then that shouldn't become a part of your reality. You shouldn't allow that name to affect how you see yourself, or how you view yourself, or question if you're really an idiot, or if you're really an asshole, or if you're really a heathen, or if you're really unintelligent. And if somebody throws these insults at you without really a conversation, but just because you're allied in this certain way, whether it be spiritual, whether it be societal, whether it be political, and they call you these things just based on their perception of your alliance, then you don't want to know them anyway, and you don't want to allow them to affect your reality. But anyway, I think I'm going to wrap up the video there. Pain is a gift. Pain is a gift because it teaches us things, and it exists to teach. It doesn't exist to break us. So we have to take all the painful experiences that we have and learn from them. Try and figure out what is reality and the universe trying to teach us, and what should we do in the future based on the lessons that we learn, and how do we mitigate the amount of pain, whether it be physical, spiritual, emotional, mental, psychological, what have you. How do we mitigate that pain that we feel when we do feel it? How do we bounce back quickly as well? So just keep in perspective the purpose of pain, and when another person harms you, who they really are, and how your reality is separate, and it doesn't have to be affected by them. So thank you very much for watching. If you have any comments about this video, shoot it down in the comment section below. If you like this video at all, feel free to hit that thumbs up down there. It really helps the channel. And I hope to see all of you in the future. Thank you very much.